you looking to up your real estate investing game? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Sub 2 Deals Show with your host, Sub 2 expert William Tingle.
Hey, Sub 2ers, this is William Tingle of Sub2Deals.com. I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Sub 2 Deals Show, where we talk about all things subject to, and sometimes some other things real estate related that will apply to your business. Today's episode is about remote buying and selling. That's probably one of the most popular questions that I get is, William, how do you buy and sell remotely? And how do you know who you need on your team? How many people do you need to do this? Well, the truth is that buying remotely is really not that much different than buying locally. In fact, if you just stop for a minute and think about all the things that you do in your day-to-day routine when you're buying and selling a house, then just think about who in your circle would be perfect to do those things instead of you. You'll probably find that you have a pretty good list of people to act on your team. If you've been thinking about trying to invest remotely, which, by the way, I do not recommend unless you have a really, really good grasp of the process of buying and selling locally, try this. On your next deal, don't leave the house to do anything having to do with it. Do everything by phone, text, or email. Now, this will be somewhat easier for you than actually doing a remote deal because the people that you'll be working with that do the jobs for you will already be people that you work with and trust. Try not to leave the house to do anything at all with the deal. Don't even go out to look at the house. Let your photo takers and your video people do all of that for you. Give it a try and see how it goes. And it'll be a pretty good indicator of how ready you are to do remote investing. I think the best way for me to show you how I do things is just to run through a scenario of buying and selling on a typical deal for me. Let's say that I'm just sitting around one day and decide to buy a house. Now, that's not really how it usually happens. Usually what prompts that is getting a call from a current buyer who says, "Hey, William, we just got our final approval and in 2 weeks we're going to be ready to do our refinance. Just wanted to let you know." Or maybe I get a call from a mortgage broker that says, "Hey, the Joneses over on Oak Street in any town, they just got their final approval. I need some payoff information and, just a package from you on what you need to get this thing closed." When that happens, I say, okay, it's time for me to buy a house. Got to replace one that's getting cashed out. So, I could put together a list and have a mailing done on foreclosures or divorces or MLS soon to expire, or gosh, 100 different lists. All kinds of different people out there that need to sell their house. But today, I just decided to cold call. Now, why am I going to do that? Well, there's several reasons. Cold calling's easy. All you got to do is pick up the phone. If you got a list of people to call, there you go. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything to do it. But the biggest reason is because a third of my deals come from cold calling. It's easy to do. You make contact with the people. You rule them out very quickly if there's somebody that's not going to deal with you. It's just so easy to do. So I get on Zillow usually. Sometimes we use Craigslist or Fizbo.com, or there's a dozen websites where people sell. But Zillow's always been my favorite. You can go in there and you can really dial things in, price range, beds and baths, for sale by owners, any of the search criteria that interest you, and then just start dialing. Of course, you're going to get a bunch of no's. No, no, maybe, well, let us think about it. No, heck no. But finally, you're going to run into that person that says, "That might work for us. We really need to sell this house." A little bit of conversation, you find out you got somebody that's interested in what you got to offer. Then bam, send out your sign-up package and talk them through it over the phone. Anywhere from a couple of hours to a day or so later, you've got a contract, an authorization to release, and a seller's disclosure in your email inbox. Also ask them while you got them on the phone if they have the closing package from when they bought the house. If they do, have them take a photo of the HUD, the insurance declaration page, and the pages of the note from when they bought the house. That's going to give you a lot of information. It's going to give you all the numbers from the HUD when they bought, and the note is also going to tell you the terms of the loan, the interest rate, the amount, It's going to give you a lot of information that you'll need later. So at that point, just give your agent, if you're working with a real estate agent, or your field inspector a call. Ask them to swing by 123 Oak Street and take a photo package. And you're going to want some specific photos. I know I do. Some very specific pictures of the house that are going to give me a good idea of the condition, along with a 2 or 3 minute video, just a walkthrough where you can get a good idea of the condition of the house. Then, once you've got that scheduled, give your seller a call and let them know to expect whoever's coming by to take some photos, that they're just going to assess the condition of the property, and they won't be there but 10 or 15 minutes. Now, my usual cost to get this done is about $25. Field inspectors, if you use those guys, they're used to doing inspections on properties for anywhere from $3 to $10 a piece. So when you offer to pay $25 for a package of photos, they're all over it. If you use a real estate agent, it may cost you a little bit more to get it done. But the truth is, agents are usually a little bit more polished, and it just flows a little bit better. So whenever possible, I like to use an agent to get it done. So once you get those done, generally less than 24 hours later, you're going to be looking at some photos and looking at a video. If you still have questions, call up the homeowner and have them take some specific photos for clarification. If you didn't get a good shot of that water heater, or something looks like there might be a problem with it, I'll just call up the homeowner and say, hey, a couple of these pictures didn't come through very well. Could you take a couple of photos for me? And we'll get them to do that. If anything seems amiss, just call up a contractor or appropriate inspector to take a look at it. I know that's what I do. And if you don't know anybody in the area at that point, a real estate agent can usually steer you in the right direction. Now, if your house is in the south, you're definitely going to want a termite inspection. Always, always get that. Now, while I was waiting for the photos, I got on the phone with the bank. I gave them the authorization to release, either sent it to them via email or however they wanted it, and then got any other loan information, reinstatement figures, or whatever else that I needed. So if I'm satisfied with the condition of the house and the loan information, at that point, I'll give my title company a call, order title work. I also start the marketing process. Signs in the yard, emails out to all the realtors and mortgage brokers and agents in the area, directional signs in the neighborhood, and also send out an email to my buyers list saying, hey, we got a new house in. It's going to go quickly. Go by and take a look. As far as who to put the signs out and that sort of thing, your agent can take care of that for you, or your field inspector can do that. Now, if you'll notice, up until now, I've really only used either an agent or a field inspector. Unless there was something wrong with the house, I would get the agent to get me somebody by there that could take a look at things. But until this point, that's really all that you need. Okay. So once I've got those things done, I wait. I'm waiting for my title report to come back and letting my buyers get by and take a look at the house. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you what happens when the title report comes back and what we do next.
The Sub-2 Deals Show with your host, Sub-2 expert William Tingle. We'll be right back. Hey Sub-2ers, do you want to learn how to get the deed but need a little help getting started? Want to learn how to fill out the paperwork, how to use a land trust, how to market for deals, how to negotiate with sellers, and more? Join us in the Sub-2 Deals Facebook coaching group. Get the benefits of one-on-one coaching without the big price tag. Learn to do Sub-2 right with coaching in a group setting and mastermind format. Head over to sub2deals.com right now and click on consulting and group coaching. We'll save you a seat. Back to the show, the Sub-2 Deals Show, with your host, Sub-2 expert William Tingle.
Okay, once our title report comes back, and that'll happen anywhere from a few days to a week later, we'll know where we stand on the deal. If there are no other liens or judgments and all is well, we'll proceed with a closing date with the buyer. Now, in our previous conversations with the seller, we've talked to them about an approximate time, but now we really need to nail it down as when we're going to close. So we're talking to potential buyers, trying to set dates for viewings and open houses if needed. Since we have our closing date, I call my insurance agent and tell him about the house on Oak Street that we're taking subject to. We give him the name of the mortgage company, the name of the trust that the house will be going into, and the trustee's name. He gets the seller's name and the date that we plan to close. Now, we schedule an open house unless the situation with the seller is such that one is not an option. Some sellers actually use us purely for the reason that they don't want to have people walking through their house all the time, and we respect that. If that's not what they want, we do not do an open house. In this case, potential buyers are able to look at photos and drive by, but nothing more until the house is in our possession. Now, this doesn't happen very often. It's pretty rare. Most times the sellers are cooperative in the showings, and more than half the time we actually have a buyer under contract with a deposit in hand before we close on the seller side. Now, if we do not have a contract from a buyer by a week before our closing to buy, the utilities are ordered for the day of closing. Now, when closing day comes, we send off our closing document package to our favorite mobile notary who meets with the sellers and gets the documents all signed. I'm on the phone with them during the process to explain anything or answer any questions. Once the documents are signed, my notary takes the deed and appropriate documents to the courthouse, files the deed, then FedExes the entire package to me. At this point, I call up the insurance company who had the homeowner's policy on the property and tell him that the property's been placed into a trust. I'll give him the date of the transfer and ask him to cancel the existing policy. We send over the power of attorney and the HUD as proof that the property has been transferred, and we also instruct him to mail any refund to our address in the name of the trust. Now, you will run into some insurance agents who will not send the refund out in any name but the seller's name, and that's okay because our power of attorney gives us the authorization to cash those checks or deposit them. So if they refuse to change the name, it's no problem. Now, once we've taken possession of the house, our agent comes in with a cleaning crew and makes it nice. We get the carpets cleaned if needed and do any freshening up to the grounds, trimming up the yard, cleaning it up, or anything like that. Now, if we haven't already found a buyer by this point, an agent will schedule an open house and will do 2 group showings a week. Callers who are interested in looking at the house are given the choice of 2 different dates for a walkthrough, or they can attend the open house. But we do remind them that the first one who signs a contract has first consideration. Doing group showings is great because it'll actually at times result in an all-out bidding war over who gets the house. Everyone wants something that other people want. And I've just found it's easier to not schedule showings per person, just have 2 group showings a week and 1 open house on the weekend. So that's what we do. Now, when someone raises their hand that they want to buy the house, my agent has them complete a contract and collects a deposit, which is wired to my bank account. We don't have anyone hold that in escrow. We get that directly. And our deposit is 1/3 of the total down payment, and it's non-refundable if they change their minds, so they need to be certain that they want the house. If we're selling a $150,000 house and we're asking for $15,000 down, we're looking for a $5,000 deposit. And what this does, it really makes sure that the people are certain they want the place, and if they do back out at the last minute, then we've got something to compensate us for taking the house off the market. The deposit is refundable if they're turned down for any reason, of which we only have a couple of reasons that we would ever disqualify someone. Now, once they complete the contract, they're referred to one of our mortgage brokers that we work with in the area to go through the qualifying process. And this includes a 1003 loan application, verification of their income, and some other information. Now, once he's run them through, he will let me know what we have, the likelihood of getting them financed, and what would need to be done to get them financed. And most people are going to fit within our parameters. Now, then it's a case of scheduling the closing. I forward the information to my closing attorney, and he puts the package together using our documents. He then sends them over to me. I look over them, and approve them, and we're set to close. Now, also during this time, my buyers are assigned to a credit repair specialist who uses the information from the mortgage broker to formulate a plan for getting the buyers where they need to be to get financing within the next 24 to 36 months. At that point, I'll order a 12-month home warranty for the property in the name of the buyers. My buyers attend the closing. They give the attorney the rest of the down payment. They receive the keys, their new home warranty, and their new home. They're instructed on how to make their payments and sign up with Clear Now. We use Clear Now to have ACH drafts on the appropriate day each month. My attorney wires the proceeds to my bank, and we're done. Now, this is the process for a remote buy and sell. Most of the time, the entire process happens in less than 30 days. And if you noticed, there weren't too many people that were involved in the process. We have a mortgage broker that functions as providing leads for buyers and sellers for us. They keep us in Dodd-Frank compliance. And they do credit repair specialists. They provide those in most cases. Now, real estate agents provide buyer and seller leads. They take photos and videos if necessary, do open houses and showings. They can assist us in getting the houses ready. They always seem to have good contacts with cleaning people and contractors and that sort of thing. Lawn maintenance and repairs. We use field inspectors for leads on houses, photos and videos, putting out signs and bandit signs, lawn maintenance and repairs. We use a mobile notary for paperwork and closings. And we need an attorney or title company to do paperwork, closings on the sell side, title work, and to help in any case with any kind of eviction or foreclosure that may come up. So that's really it for as far as the boots on the ground or the team that you need. Very few people are required to do these things. Of course, part of that goes with the model that we have. We don't buy houses that need repairs. We buy nice homes in nice neighborhoods in a certain target price range. And that's what we do. So that is how I sell and buy remotely. If you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can reach me at william@sub2deals.com or in the Subject to Real Estate Forum on Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So that's how we do it. I hope it was helpful. So get out there and buy some houses.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Sub2 Deals Show with William Tingle. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit sub2deals.com, on Facebook at Sub2 Deals. We'll catch you next time.